Imagine booting up your computer and before your finger even leaves the power button, the system is already fully loaded, responsive, and ready to go. No spinning circles, no waiting, no forced updates slowing everything down. Just pure speed. Now imagine that this system is not some futuristic operating system from a secret lab, but a Linux distribution that exists right now. And it's so fast that it completely redefines what you expect from a computer. This is not just about shaving a few seconds off boot time. This is about a radical shift in how operating systems perform, how resources are used, and how your machine feels in everyday use. And once you experience it, going back to anything slower, especially Windows, feels almost impossible. Let's start with the problem most people don't even realize they have. Modern operating systems, especially Windows, are heavy. They are packed with background services, telemetry, pre-installed apps, and processes that you never asked for but are always running. These consume CPU cycles, RAM, and disk activity constantly. Even when you think your computer is idle, it's actually busy doing things you don't need. That's why even powerful machines sometimes feel slow. It's not always your hardware, it's the software overhead. Now enter a new generation of ultra-fast Linux systems. These aren't just lightweight, they're aggressively optimized for speed. Everything unnecessary is stripped away. Every process is intentional. Every resource is used efficiently. The result is an operating system that feels instant. You click something, it opens immediately. You launch an app, it's already there. You switch tasks, it's seamless. It's not just faster, it feels alive. One of the biggest reasons behind this speed is how Linux handles system resources. Unlike Windows, which often prioritizes compatibility and legacy support, Linux distributions designed for performance focus on minimalism and efficiency. They use lightweight desktop environments or even window managers that consume almost no resources. Instead of bloated interfaces, you get clean, fast, responsive systems that do exactly what you need and nothing more. Think about RAM usage. A typical Windows system might use 2 to 4 gigabytes of RAM just sitting idle. That's a huge chunk of your system resources gone before you even open a browser. In contrast, some of these ultra-fast Linux setups use less than 500 megabytes at idle. That's not just a small improvement, it's a completely different level of efficiency. It means more memory available for your applications, smoother multitasking, and better performance overall. But it's not just about RAM. CPU usage is also dramatically lower. Because there are fewer background processes, your processor isn't constantly being interrupted. This leads to better responsiveness and less heat generation. Your system runs cooler, quieter, and more efficiently. Even on older hardware, the difference is night and day. Machines that struggled under Windows suddenly feel brand new under Linux. Another major factor is how these systems handle storage. Modern Linux distributions often use advanced file systems and optimized I/O scheduling. This means faster read and write speeds, quicker file access, and reduced latency. Combined with SSDs, the performance becomes almost instantaneous. Boot times can drop to just a few seconds. Applications launch in the blink of an eye. Even large files open without delay. Now let's talk about customization, because this is where things get really interesting. With Linux, you're not locked into a single way of doing things. You can tailor the system exactly to your needs. Want a minimal setup with just a terminal and a browser? You can do that. Want a sleek, modern interface that still runs incredibly fast? That's possible too. The point is, you control the system, not the other way around. This level of control allows users to create extremely optimized environments. Power users can build systems that are stripped down to the absolute essentials, resulting in maximum performance. And even for beginners, there are pre-configured distributions that deliver incredible speed out of the box. You don't need to be an expert to experience the difference. One of the most surprising aspects is how smooth everything feels. It's not just about raw speed, it's about consistency. There are no random slowdowns, no sudden spikes in resource usage, no unexplained lag. Everything behaves predictably. This creates a sense of reliability that's hard to describe until you experience it. Your computer becomes a tool you can trust, rather than something you have to fight with. Now compare that to Windows, updates that take forever, background processes that slow everything down, forced restarts, unexpected bugs. It's not that Windows is unusable, it's just that once you see what's possible with a highly optimized Linux system, it becomes clear how much performance is being left on the table. Gaming is another area where things are changing rapidly. For a long time, Windows had a clear advantage here. But with recent advancements in Linux gaming, like compatibility layers and improved driver support, that gap is closing fast. Many games now run just as well, if not better, on Linux. And because the system itself is so lightweight, more resources are available for the game. This can lead to better frame rates and smoother gameplay. Then there's security. Because these fast Linux systems are minimal, they have a smaller attack surface. Fewer services running means fewer vulnerabilities. Combined with the open-source nature of Linux, this creates a more secure environment overall. You're less likely to encounter malware, and you have more control over what's installed on your system. Another overlooked benefit is battery life. On laptops, these optimized Linux systems can significantly extend battery performance. Less background activity means less power consumption. Your CPU isn't constantly working, your disk isn't constantly spinning, and your system isn't constantly communicating with external servers. The result is longer usage on a single charge. But perhaps the most important change is psychological. When your system is fast, you think differently. You're more productive. You're less frustrated. You don't hesitate to try things because you know your system can handle it. That mental shift is powerful. It transforms your relationship with your computer. There's also a growing community around these ultra-fast Linux setups. People are constantly experimenting, optimizing, and sharing their configurations. This means the ecosystem is always improving. New tools, new tweaks, new distributions, all pushing the boundaries of what's possible. It's an exciting space to be in, especially if you enjoy technology. Of course, it's not perfect. There can be a learning curve, especially if you're coming from Windows. Some software may not be available or may require alternatives. But for many users, the trade-off is worth it. The performance gains alone are enough to justify the switch. And here's the thing. This isn't just for tech enthusiasts. As these systems become more user-friendly, more people are starting to adopt them. What used to be niche is becoming mainstream. The idea of a fast, efficient, user-controlled operating system is appealing to a wide audience. So what does this mean for the future? It suggests a shift away from bloated, one-size-fits-all operating systems toward more streamlined, customizable solutions. It challenges the idea that you need powerful hardware to have a fast experience, and it proves that with the right approach, software can be incredibly efficient. The real question is not whether Linux can keep up with Windows, it's whether Windows can keep up with Linux. Because in this race, speed isn't just an advantage, it's a game changer, and once you experience it, everything else feels slow. Now imagine this becoming the new standard, systems that boot instantly, applications that open without delay, interfaces that respond the moment you interact with them. No waiting, no lag, no frustration, just pure performance. That's the direction things are heading, and Linux is leading the way. At the end of the day, the fastest Linux systems aren't just about speed, they're about efficiency, control, and freedom. They show what's possible when you remove unnecessary complexity and focus on what really matters. And in doing so, they redefine what a computer should feel like. Once you experience that level of performance, it's hard to go back.